Liam, where are we at, man? What are we doing?
WrestleMania 41 right now.
On the floor.
With Johnny Bananas from The Challenge.
Who's your match against tonight?
Cody Cena.
Oh, fuck yeah. And Cody Cena, I'm going to watch Viper Island.
Viper Island.
That's what I said.
Go.
Viper Island YouTube channel.
Hey folks, we're packed and stacked with a lot of brand new insight about G.I. Joe Classified. Is Hasbro creating a mass device set? What cold Slither accessory did Hasbro choose not to include? What are Hasbro's plans to make a G.I. Joe HasLab Playset? How does Hasbro select weapons for each figure? How soon is Hasbro going to introduce new characters to Classified? And what new figures can we expect the rest of this year? We've got answers on all of that and a lot more. Watch until the end. You'll want to hear all of the updates and insight from the G.I. Joe Classified team. First up, a quick recap. Last week I hit pause on real life and made the trip to Las Vegas for WWE WrestleMania 41. The lineup, unreal. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Travis Scott, Randy Orton, Logan Paul, Becky Lynch, and a lot more. Even Stone Cold Steve Austin was there. Night 2 of Mania brought something extra special. Upgraded floor seats right in the heart of the action and just steps from the ring. Sitting right by me, someone who grew up through the 80s as a G.I. Joe fan and is now one of the biggest villains in reality TV, Johnny Bananas of MTV's The Challenge, The Traitors on Prime TV, and House of Villains. We got to talking, and he told me if he was ever cast in a G.I. Joe movie, he'd want to be a badass dreadnought with a flamethrower. Maybe that would be Torch or someone completely different. Either way, as a notorious villain, Johnny Bananas as a dreadnought absolutely adds up. Las Vegas was buzzing all week. I ran into Boston Connor from the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, and it turns out that he's also a Joe fan. He said if he was cast in a G.I. Joe movie, he'd want to play the guy with the Red Sox hat. Now, I think he was referring to Cutter, the driver of the whale. It's a deep cut, but why not? And they kind of look alike. So do you agree with Boston Connor? I think this might be a perfect fit. There were celebrities everywhere, including one of the most iconic rappers of all time, Flavor Flav. Now, I didn't ask him who he'd want to play in a G.I. Joe movie, but can you imagine Flavor Flav as Doc? That one might be a bit of a stretch, but maybe in a parody video. In between the action, I ran into some members of Mattel's WWE design team, Bill McKenna and Steven Ozer. If you're into G.I. Joe Classified Articulation, chances are you have unknowingly admired their work, which inspired much of what we see now in other action figure lines. Bill McKenna is the mastermind behind Mattel's TrueFX technology, which brings hyperrealism to WWE figures and captures every nuance, from highly detailed faces to ring gear. We had a great conversation about how far action figures have come and where they're heading. The Mattel WWE team has been on fire lately, and it was a pleasure to meet them. From spontaneous pop-up events in the streets to the lights and spectacle of WrestleMania itself, the week in Vegas was a whirlwind, but it was also the perfect chance to recharge, reconnect with old friends, and soak in every minute of the madness. The kind of experience that reminds you why you fell in love with this stuff in the first place. And now, let's discuss some new updates from the G.I. Joe Hasbro team. And we're going to start with the mass device. What's really going on? Is a real mass device finally headed our way for G.I. Joe Classified? According to Hasbro, the short answer is, not yet. Tony from the G.I. Joe team confirmed that the mass device is being used as a theme for a subline, but there are no plans to actually create the mass device itself. Lenny backed that up. No mass device is in the works. Now, what's strange about all of this is how quiet Hasbro's been about it up until now. They tried to be mysterious about what the mass device tie-in was all about, just to create some buzz and stir up some sales. They've acknowledged that they are aware that fans have been buzzing about the mass device, but they never actually cleared up the confusion when it mattered. Instead, they stayed silent and pushed suspense and mystery to create buzz. The mass device elements are baked into the subline, with no actual mass device to put them in. So in the end, these mass device elements are really just pointless. Now, Hasbro likes to talk about how transparent they are. This whole situation suggests they're anything but transparent in ways that directly impact collectors, their literal audience. Hasbro should have been straight up from the start and said that the mass device was just a simple subline that was a short-term thing with 3 releases, but no actual mass device. There was no reason not to just be honest from the very beginning. Focus on the fun of it, not trying to be mysterious about what it all means. especially when it means nothing in the end. That would allow collectors to make an informed decision when pre-orders rolled around, regardless of the mess that happened with both Breaker and the Divers pre-orders. This right here is constructive criticism, and whether Hasbro is open to receiving honest feedback from its audience remains to be seen. There's a lesson to be learned here. Hasbro has to stop playing games with its releases and put more effort into sharing all relevant information with collectors by the time pre-orders go live for any figure. It's not that complicated. Inform your audience. It's that simple. Let the figures sell themselves. Now what we're wondering is, how do you feel about this? Are you disappointed there's no mass device coming? Do you feel Hasbro allowed fans to believe there was a mass device planned and didn't clarify anything until a long time after figures had sold out? Because folks, that's how things played out here. Now Dex and I passed on both the Breaker and the Divers 2-pack releases, but we understand the frustration that many in the community feel about these. So we raise issues like this to give a voice to the community. So, does this news change your excitement for the mass device themed figures like Breaker and the Divers 2-pack, which by the way sold out in a flash? Or how about Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear? That one might be different just because of the Polar Bear, but if you ordered Breaker and the Divers, are you still just as interested? Or are you going to cancel your pre-orders because there's no mass device coming? Whatever your thoughts, drop them below. We want to hear what you think. Next up, over to Cold Slither. Now this news is straight from Hasbro's Lenny. The upcoming Cold Slither 4-pack will come with instruments, but no microphones. Why? Lenny said he's hoping to create a modern-day Dreadnoks rock band down the line, and he said that if fans show enough interest in this pet project of his, then he said he'll think about possibly including a microphone in that future set. What is going on here? The Cold Slither 4-pack is the 2025 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, the biggest release of the year. And Lenny said that they thought about including a microphone, but it just didn't fit into their budget. How is that possible? So as a result, the Hasbro team made the decision to make this set incomplete. I can hear you already. What is Hasbro thinking? We all know that the 4-pack of Cold Slither will be expensive, and we all know that you're going to end up paying a premium packaging fee as part of the inflated price point. They're not throwing in that box for free. Collectors will decide for themselves if the price matches their interest. But to knowingly not include any microphones, when this is a rock band that literally sings a rock anthem to hypnotize their audience, that's highly questionable. And instead, sorry folks, it turns out that Cold Slither is now just an instrumental rock band, no vocals. We're going to turn this over to you for a moment. First, are you into the idea of a new modern-day Dreadnoks rock band set? Or is Hasbro losing its focus? How do you feel about Hasbro choosing to not include microphones with the Cold Slither set, especially when it's a convention exclusive? Do you care, or do you think this is a major oversight? And what's your take on the idea of a simple accessory like a microphone being dangled in front of fans and held hostage for a future modern-day set that doesn't even exist yet and isn't even rooted in classic G.I. Joe lore? Those who collect the Cold Slither 4-pack should probably be a little upset that this is coming incomplete without microphones. And worse yet, that the lead designer for Hasbro's G.I. Joe team is saying that he'll only consider including microphones if his pet project of a modern-day Dreadnoks rock band is eventually made and bought by collectors. I don't think anyone is lining up for that one, especially when it's worth noting we're still waiting on a long list of iconic G.I. Joe characters to join G.I. Joe Classified. For example, Lifeline and Iceberg, Wetsuit and Mainframe, Crazy Legs and Hardball, Hit and Run and Sneak Peek, Muskrat and Grand Slam, Fast Draw and Flash, Zap and Short Fuse, Pythona and Globulus, Voltar and Zanzibar, Blizzard and Airtight, Iron Grenadier Destro and Baroness, and countless others. Talking about launching a hypothetical modern-day Dreadnok rock band feels like putting the cart way before the horse. Perhaps Lenny can start a separate line of rock band figures if that's his true passion. In the meantime, there's really no excuse for not including any microphones with a rock band set, which is also the year's biggest exclusive for G.I. Joe. Why make fans overpay for an incomplete set? Also, just a heads up, Lenny confirmed that there's no blast effects port on the end of Torch's guitar. This would have allowed collectors to attach flame blast effects just like how Torch's guitar appeared in the cartoon. Lenny implied, as usual, that the porthole was cut for budget reasons. Portholes have been included on accessories and weapons of all sizes, including small ones. He also tried to say that the guitar was too small for a porthole, but a long list of other weapons that he's made contradict that statement. The Classified series is both popular and profitable enough to not require Hasbro to penny pinch to this extent. If you feel that Hasbro should stop skimping on details that collectors actually care about and are important to the line, like including microphones and blast effects portholes where it makes the most sense, sound off in the comments. And if you're planning on buying the Cold Slither 4-pack, are you annoyed at all that there won't be any microphones included? Let us know. Next, onto Gem and the Holograms. Yes, that's right. On the side of the Cold Slither packaging, there is a poster for Gem and the Holograms. These details are not sneak previews of what's still to come in the line. They are simply just fun details added by Hasbro's art department. The Hasbro design team has said multiple times that they actually have nothing to do with any of the artwork. And the same thing can be said for the background artwork for G.I. Joe Classified packaging as a whole. The references in the background of the artwork have no bearing on upcoming figures or vehicles. Whether there's a tank, a helicopter, or some other vehicle in the background, Hasbro has said it's all just for fun, and they've confirmed this multiple times. But nevertheless, people have naturally speculated that the Gem poster means something more. Lenny set the record straight. Hasbro has no current plans to bring Gem figures into the Classified series. The poster that's shown on the Cold Slither packaging, nothing more than just a playful shout out to Gem fans by Hasbro's art department. Lenny added that while he'd love to take a chance to make Gem figures someday, there's no guarantee it'll happen. And honestly, it sounds like Hasbro has no plans for Gem in any way, shape, or form. For now, it's just a fun reference. Next up, G.I. Joe Classified vs. Super 7. If you've been wondering whether G.I. Joe Classified and Super 7's G.I. Joe lines are going head-to-head, the answer straight from Hasbro's Lenny is not at all. According to him, there's no rivalry there. They're playing in two completely different lanes. The Classified series brings you highly articulated 6-inch figures packed with modern updates, while Super 7's Ultimates line delivers 7-inch retro-inspired designs with a focus on detailed accessories and classic styling. So according to Hasbro, the two lines have different scales, different vibes, and different experiences. And I'll point out, completely different popularity. And with the Trump tariffs, there's a very real possibility that companies like Super 7 will possibly end up running out of business because of the tariffs. Time will tell, but keep an eye on this situation. Next up, HasLab Playsets. Lenny from the Hasbro team said that they're open to making playsets for HasLab. That said, we'll caution this by saying all references that he made were hypothetical and based in the future. This is not a situation that'll be happening in 2025 or 2026. He said that HasLab is where a lot of playsets would have to be created, just due to size. He said that HasLab projects are supposed to be dream projects and that he's inspired by the Star Wars playsets for the Black Series. So, is there a medium-sized playset that you think would be a good candidate to start out a G.I. Joe Classified HasLab project? If so, what would be an instant buy for you? And let's try to keep this conversation realistic. They're not going to release one of the largest playsets as the first one. And on that note, what is the biggest playset that you've got room for in your collection? Would you want a Cobra Terradrome, the G.I. Joe headquarters, or would you be sized out? And what is the best way to roll out a G.I. Joe HasLab playset? As one large expensive set, or Hasbro selling off sections of a larger playset, with the sections being sold individually? And do you even care about G.I. Joe Classified playsets? Or is your focus strictly on collecting the figures and some vehicles? Whichever side of the fence you're on, sound off in the comments. Next, Tony confirmed that the new Retro Green Shirt Trooper and Cobra Bat are designed with a strong nod to their animated roots. Meanwhile, Lenny teased that female Green Shirt Troopers are on the radar for a future release. It's not a matter of if, but when. Next, remember those early Classified figures that could tilt their heads sky high or stare straight at the ground? That extra neck articulation gave them some serious attitude, but as production costs tightened, Hasbro scaled back their range of motion. These days, necks are a little more locked in place. Lenny mentioned that the team is actively reviewing the neck articulation situation, though he didn't spill any details just yet. Keep in mind, this is something we originally had at the start of the line, and then Hasbro took it away. Profits come first, people. So how do you feel about it? Are you missing the flexibility of the early figures, or are you happier with less? And with how Classified continues to evolve? Let us know in the comments below. Next, when it comes to picking weapons for G.I. Joe Classified figures, Lenny shared that 3 big factors drive all the decisions. First, how iconic the weapon is to the character. Second, how they're updating and modernizing the figure. And third, the overall cost. Because of this, he said some classic accessories don't always make the cut. Just think of Big Boa missing his punching bag, or those early Roadblock figures that didn't come with his signature heavy machine gun. Are there any figures that you think deserve better gear? Drop your picks in the comments, and tell us if there's a figure you're still holding out hope will get the ultimate deluxe treatment someday. Personally, I'm waiting for the perfect tacked-out version of Firefly. But really, I should probably just turn to Mezco's 112 Collective, which is easily the most detailed and realistic action figure line when it comes to G.I. Joe. Next, let's talk about the Vamp and a possible reissue. Tony from Hasbro dropped some interesting news. They know how fast the Vamp sold out, and they know how many of you are still hunting for one. And yes, they're paying attention. When planning what's next, whether it's brand new figures, long-awaited reissues, or fresh spins on classics, he said the team looks directly to fan feedback. The bottom line, if there's something you want, don't be shy. Speak up. Your voice might just steer the next big reveal. Next, let's talk about the future of Classified. According to the Hasbro team, there's some big updates ahead. Lenny confirmed that the next 5 years of Classified will feature some fresh new characters to shake up the roster, and he's also got some favorites in mind. At the top of his list, Cesspool and the Eco Warriors. Cesspool could really be a standout in Classified, especially with the line's next-level sculpting. Imagine all the gritty, grotesque details they could pack into his disfigured face and toxic gear. The possibilities are endless. Not to mention, the bright Eco Warrior color schemes could create some of the boldest and most eye-catching figures yet. If they dive into this sub-team, look out for fan favorites like Clean Sweep and Ozone to follow. And speaking of new blood, is there anyone else that you're hoping joins the lineup? Personally, I've got my sights set on a rising star from the Skybound Comics universe, Risk. Here's the breakdown. Risk is a scrappy modern Joe, complete with brass knuckles, MMA chops, a versatile look, either a business suit or with a tactical vest, a signature handgun, and a killer vibe. His indigenous designs in black, red, and white, plus a massive back tattoo, make him stand out in a way that would be pure dynamite on the Classified shelf. As for when Risk will make his debut for Classified, that's still a mystery, but with the future wide open, anything is possible. And there you have it. You've made it to the end of this episode, and we really appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. And we would love it even more if you take just 1 second of your time. Make sure that down below you are subscribed to the channel. We ask that you do, because that guarantees that we definitely get to see you back here again next time. Thanks for tuning into Viper Island, your one-stop shop for all things G.I. Joe. When there's relevant news, we'll be here to discuss all of it, together with you. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, have a great day, and yo Joe!